Hey everybody, it's Skylar Dixon at Alali Farm, and I am out here in this weedy section of our eastern part of our farm doing wood chips in our carrot rows so I can try to get weed pressure under control. We've got a mower going in the background. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. So to procrastinate a little bit from having to shovel more wood chips, I want to talk about the 5 things that we learned in our first year of farming. And we learned more than 5 things, of course. We learned thousands of things. Some of them might even be useful down the road. But I want to talk about 5 kind of strategies or systems of thought that we've put in place or kind of developed to try to cope with farming, or really, I guess, try to cope with beginning a big venture like this without having any experience beforehand, outside of reading and the internet. So I guess these are just how we've dealt with being unprepared for the this venture that we've started. So thing number 1, you don't have control. So farming is so much a fight against what you can't control, or what you think you can control, whether that's weeds or bugs or the weather. And you should try to control what you can control. You should try to do what's in front of you. But the big picture, you have no control over. And the moment that I kind of came to accept that I don't have control over whether armyworms come in like last fall, or I don't have control over my health 100%. And so I had to sit in the bed for 6 weeks or whatever it was. The moment that we came to accept that, the burden of trying to control everything lifted. And I think it's made me a little bit more productive. So you can't control everything. 2, and this one applies a little more to farming, but maybe not. But number 2 is that growing and selling are separate beasts. And we didn't know anything about really either one of them to begin with. The growing aspect you can find a ton on. And we certainly did. We looked at YouTube videos. We read book after book after book on permaculture, on market gardening, on whole systems and lean farming, and you name it. You've seen them all out there, and they're all wonderful, and we've gleaned a lot from them. Not a single one of them, though, talked about how to sell. So going into a market situation, a farmer's market, and we did quite a few, and we had planned to do more. You're in there competing with farms that are already established, that have a client base that's already established, and have relationships with that farmer's market, or with that town, or with advertising venues that are already established too. So we spent a lot of last year trying to kind of develop our niche and to gain our following, and we did, and a lot of the farmers market customers we found switched with us to online. But maybe because we weren't so successful trying to worm our way into farmers markets with some pretty sizable farms that have a lot of resources around us, because of that, I think it made us a little more nimble and looking for more options. And so switching over to online sales and door-to-door delivery took us out of that picture, and I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Not to say we're not going to go back to farmers markets or anything like that, but it's great. I'm going to sit down for this one just because it's probably stupid to watch me pace back and forth in the carrot rows. So number 3 is a big one, and it is
favor diligence over completion. Let me say what I mean by that. It's probably true for most people. I had somehow developed the mindset to favor completing tasks, to kind of only feel fulfillment when a task was completed, and then I could move on to another one. The problem with that in farming is that some of these tasks are huge and take weeks, and you get pulled away from one to do another one. You're multitasking in some ways, and you can kind of get lost or discouraged when you haven't completed a task in a long time, but you've been working nonstop. So I'm not saying I've completely done this one, but as soon as I shifted mindset to start favoring diligence, or the small steps that we're taking throughout a day, and writing those small steps down, even if they didn't come to a completion of the full task, I started enjoying the process a lot more. So for example, like the putting wood chips in the rows of the carrots right here, I've been just kind of working on this for, I don't know, 2 weeks now probably. Just kind of at the end of the day, if I have a little more energy left, or if I have a little more time that I can kill, I just do 1-2 rows at a time, and it's nice. It's a nice thing to kind of wear myself out at the end of the day, but also a nice thing that I don't have to pressure myself to sit here all day and shovel wood chips, which you can do in a day or two, and then the third day you'll probably have to rest, or I don't know. It's just not a high priority when we got to get things in the ground, although weed suppression is a priority. Anyway, that's a long way of saying diligence beats completion. Okay, number 4, I'm gonna lean on this wood chip like it's a lazy boy, because my right arm is getting tired, and I kind of wanted to feature this remarkable weed right here. So number 4 is kind of the opposite of number 3, but number 4 is celebrate wins, and part of that is celebrating birthdays. It can get really, really easy to be overwhelmed with the amount of work that you have to do and the amount of trouble that's going on, and this is probably true for anybody that owns their own business, that you can always be looking for problems to fix. To combat that, when you do complete something big, a big task, like planning for fall, you celebrate. We get together, we cook a big meal, we sit outside, we do something kind of out of the norm. It's also true for birthdays, which have taken on kind of not a new meaning, but a new priority in our lives. I guess partly because of this pandemic, and partly just from this mindset that I'm talking about. But for birthdays, we really celebrate. We get together, we cook a good meal, we savor the time we have together, because it's valuable. Number 5, I'm gonna stand up for, because this is the last one, and I'm tired of sitting down, or else I'll probably stay there all day. Number 5 is look up and zoom out. So I can get lost in the task that I'm doing, whether that's pulling weeds or planting or whatever it is, whatever the task it is, and I'll be so focused on it, I'll be looking down at it, and I'll just be kind of trapped in this cocoon of focus, or of just kind of a closed off mindset. How many times have I said mindset? You should drink every time I say mindset. But yeah, so look up and zoom out is, there are the moments throughout the day where if you find yourself a little too preoccupied with what's going on, just to stop and to kind of pull the camera out and to look around, and take in the scenery, look at the clouds, notice any wildlife that's going on, kind of put your thoughts aside and just kind of come to your senses, for lack of a better word, and kind of feel present and thankful for the kind of beauty that's all around us. So yeah, zoom out with the senses, but also zoom out with perspective. The kind of diligence that I was talking about earlier can really add up if you start looking at, where we were last year or 6 months ago or whatever it is. I'm not saying we know what we're doing yet, or really that we'll ever know what we're doing. Had the lawnmower cut off. But that we've made a lot of progress in a lot of different ways. So that's probably the biggest one, is to kind of give yourself perspective and take note of where you are right now. So thanks. I hope that, or some of that, was helpful to you. It certainly was helpful to me, kind of sitting down and putting into words some of the big lessons we've learned this year. But please subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you again soon.